Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Fit and Form podcast. This time it's for the Sanderson Farms Championship. And while I know it may not be the best field and Scotty Scheffler might be 11.4K, we've got plenty of money to play for this week. DraftKings switched up their pricing structures a little bit, starting with the $10, giving away $100K to first in that contest, $25K to first for the $5, and a $50K to first for one of the fun tournaments, or one of the ones that I like, the Club Twirl, giving away $50K for first place for that one. And then the big dollar buy, an $888, giving away $100K to first. So a little bit more spread out maybe in terms of how they're trying to fill their contest, meaning a lot of options and price points to play for. So let's dive in on some of the players that you might want to be focusing on this week. Of course, I'll have so much more information on this coming up in some of my premium content here that I do for Awesemo.com. Just $8.95 for the week and $29.99 for the month. That month is going to lead you right up to Masters coverage. In fact, we're probably going to have a couple of Masters articles come out. So if you do get the month, you're going to get at least the start of some content there. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the Fit in the Form podcast. So if you're not sure what I do on this one, what I do is I go over the recent form, the course history, and how they've done it in their recent form, so some strokes gained information. So let's go ahead and jump right in this week. Just to remind you, 55% of the fairways will be hit here at the Country Club of Jackson. 2-inch rough, meaning 67% of the greens in regulation are hit. So rough, not very penal. 60% scrambling if you do end up missing the green. Okay, let's start off with some recent form here. And Will Zalatoris and Scotty Scheffler are certainly in their own world right now. Scheffler is 6 for 6. Zalatoris is 9 for 9. I'm looking at the last 11 weeks here of play. Scheffler has come in the top 20 in all of them, as has Zalatoris. Zalatoris has 6 top 10s. Scheffler has 3, so very impressive there. Other guys in the top 10s is Zach Johnson, Sebastian Munoz, Adam Long, Ches Reavie, Luke List, Emiliano Grillo, Richie Werenski, Davis Riley, the Jackson, Mississippi resident, or maybe not Jackson, but certainly very close, and Sahith Theegala, who has 2 top 10s on the minor league tours, also has a 14th at the last start that he played out at the Safeway, so pretty good form for Sahith Theegala. A couple of those other guys that I mentioned up at the front, Sebastian Munoz, the defending champion of the event. When we switch over to top 25s, we're looking for golfers that have 4. Xingjun Zhang and Pat Perez join Scotty Scheffler as the PGA Tour players that have done it. Will Zalatoris is joined. A couple of golfers have 3 as well. Sebastian Munoz, along with Sungjae Im, Siwoo Kim, Christopher Ventura, Cameron Percy, Byung-Hyun Ahn, Dylan Fratelli, Charlie Hoffman, Pat Rogers, and Taylor Gooch. Those last 5, including Sungjae Im here, are still in search of their first top 10, although 3 top 25s says that he is probably relatively close, knocking on the door. Okay, now let's look at golfers that have made every cut. Obviously, Scotty Scheffler and Will Zalatoris are 2 guys that we've already mentioned. Others, though, that have made every cut, Cam Davis. No more cut sweats for him, as he was a perennial content maker for my little cut sweat segment on the Opening Tee podcast, which I'm sure most of you have listened to already. Adam Schenk hasn't missed a cut. Pat Rogers, and a couple of more. Maybe we can go to Pat Perez. He has 2 withdrawals in which if he didn't withdraw, he was likely to miss the cut. He withdrew due to his play, not like a pre-tournament withdrawal. So I don't know if we can really count him, but we certainly can count Patrick Rogers. Now we switch over to the negative side. Henrik Stenson. He may be streaking a little bit into this week. He has no top 10s. A couple of other names that might surprise you. Keith Mitchell, Mark Hubbard, Doug Gim, and Kevin Chappell. We switch over to no top 25s. Here's some names that really surprised me. Will Gordon, right? 50% owned last week. He doesn't have a top 25 in the last 11 weeks. Chris Kirk, Patton Kazire, Jamie Lovemark, William McGirt, Brand Snedeker, and Keegan Bradley. Wow. So if I take the names of those groups of 5 that I just mentioned to you in the top 10 and top 25, I would rather take the group of top 25 and say 2 of them will get inside that number this week. Top 10s, I do have some good feelings about Henrik Stenson, not going to lie, going into this week, so maybe he bucks that trend, but I would still stick with my 2 in the top 25 rather than 1 in the top 10 of those guys that I mentioned. When we switch over to our cut portion of it, these golfers need to, these next few golfers definitely need to find a paycheck, especially Martin Traynor, who hasn't earned one in quite some time. Ryan Armour, Wyndham Clark, Chase Seifert, Johnny Vegas, Matthew Neesmith, Bill Haas, Zach Blair, Brian Gay, Ted Potter, Lucas Glover, Sam Ryder, and Sebastian Kaplan. They've all got 4 missed cuts in the last 11 weeks, but at least they've made at least one paycheck. So not all is terrible in the world of them as long as they're traveling pretty meagerly. They've at least made some money over these last couple of months or so. Okay, now let's switch over to the Country Club of Jackson here and learn about we have plenty of history here. Of course, the tournament's been here for a couple of years now, over 5. So whenever we have that, I just look at the last 5 years, so all the way back to 2015 here. Top 10s, we've only got a couple of golfers in the field, 3 of them to be exact, that have multiple top 10s. DJ Trahan, Carlos Ortiz, and Patton Kizzire. Interesting note on DJ Trahan, though, he's one of only a couple of golfers to actually have 3 missed cuts here as well. There's only a couple of golfers here that have done that. DJ Trahan is one of them, so he's in the 3 missed cut category and the multiple top 10 category. That you don't find that very often. Top 25s, Danny McCarthy, Brunson Burgoon, a pair of Taylors, both Vaughn and Nick, Brandon Hagee, Lucas Glover, William McGirt, Patrick Rogers, and Cam Percy. They all have 2 top 25s here at Country Club of Jackson in the last 5 years. Whereas JT Poston and Cam Percy are the only 2 golfers that are 4 for 4 in cuts made. A couple of others that are 3 for 3, including Patrick Rogers, Sebastian Munoz, Sam Burns, Adam Schenk, and Cameron Tringale. So definitely a couple of names there that are playing well right now and have never missed a cut here, or at least in their last 3 tries. So maybe something to take a note at there. In terms of missed cuts, I already mentioned DJ Trahan. He is one of the golfers with 3. A couple more. Matt Jones, who has 3 and a withdraw, so really struggles here. Austin Cook, he's got a top 25, but 3 missed cuts. Tom Hoagie is our last one with 3 missed cuts. He has no finish better than 39th. And then interestingly enough, Patton Kizzire, who has 2 top 10s, he's also got 2 missed cuts here. So a bit topsy-turvy. You find that same thing with Chesson Hadley, who has a 2nd place here, but also 2 missed cuts. In fact, why not just throw in Ryan Armour? Ryan Armour, a winner here back in 2017, but missed the cut in 2016 and 2019. So results tend to vary here. If results may vary if I steal a line. As I steal a line from the medical world, results may vary. Certainly the case here in the fall swing with the type of golfers that we're playing. And there's nothing against these golfers that we're going to be rostering here this week. That's not what it's about. What I'm saying is just the variability in terms of what their finishes are so much greater than if we were playing some of the best players in the world each and every week, which I guess these golfers are in a way, just not maybe your John Rahm or something like that. Okay, let's move on here and find out how these golfers are getting it done recently as we look into some strokes gained information. And of course, strokes gained is the most predictable tool in the golf world in terms of how each golfer is playing and the type of form that they are in. Got just about 138 full golfers here to analyze. Will Zalatoris still only 1 start, so not really much we can analyze there. And a couple of other guys that are sponsors exemption this week don't have any start. So about 135, maybe just over golfers that we have to look at this week. And 6 of those golfers have gained 2 or more strokes 4 times. Let me say that again. 6 golfers gaining 2 or more strokes in the data set. Sungjae Im has done it 7 times. Brian Harman, JT Poston with 6. Whereas Scotty Scheffler and Doc Redman both have only just about 25 or so starts, and they've done it in 5 of 25. So actually much better rate than both Sungjae, Harman, and Poston. A couple of other guys have done it 5. In the last 8 weeks, though, however, we're looking at Sam Burns and Denny McCarthy. Guy that have done it twice, gaining just over 2. Scotty Scheffler has done it 3 times. Other guys that have done it twice, as I mentioned, Burns and McCarthy. Other guys, Bud Cauley, Zach Johnson, and Ches Reavie. As we look at one last note, Cam Tringale, he has only 3 starts in the last 11 weeks, but twice he's been over 1.5 in terms of his total strokes gained. So he seems to be playing pretty well. Only 1 start meagerly that he lost 0.15. Cam Davis, Adam Long, and Brian Harman also standouts here over the last 10 or so weeks. Okay, now when we take out putting and look at strokes gained tee to green, no surprise to see Emiliano Grillo, 5 starts in the database where he's gained over 1.75. Not as much as Byung-Hyun An and Sergio Garcia, though. They've done it 6 times, but they're all shy of Scotty Scheffler, who's done it 7. Other guys that have done it 5 times include Sungjae Im, Ches Reavie, Siwoo Kim, and Sebastian Munoz. Speaking of Siwoo Kim, he's done it 3 times over the last 10 weeks. Scotty Scheffler's done it 4. Doc Redman, Ches Reavie, and JJ Spawn have done it twice. So only Siwoo Kim and Scotty Scheffler have done it more than twice. Some standouts here, though, that might be an interesting names. Russell Knox, Jason Duffner, and Hank Lebioda, in terms of their per-round start, gaining on strokes gained tee to green, have all played pretty well. So all might be in play this week. Now when we go to the individual stats, strokes gained off the tee, Corey Connors, man, in the data set, he is fantastically consistent, if those are 2 words putting it back together there. 67% of his starts where he's gained a half a stroke or more. Sergio Garcia has done it in 64%, whereas Johnny Vegas has done it in 60%. Corey Connors and Sergio Garcia over the last 8 weeks, they've gained a half a stroke off the tee 5 times. Garcia's missed a bunch of cuts there, though, so it shows you how bad his putting is. Scotty Scheffler's also done it 5 times. Bo Hostler, Chris Baker, Anraban Lahiri, Brandon Hagee, Brunson Burgoon, Chris Kirk, Bill Haas, and Corey Connors. All golfers that have been very good off the tee recently and can expect to see that continue this week. When we switch over to our strokes gained on the approach, Grillo, still the best iron player in the field, but not nearly as much as last week. Doc Redman and Ches Reavie are right up there. Over the last 8 weeks, it's been Byung-Hyun An and Scotty Scheffler that have actually looked a little bit better than Grillo. But over the data set, still Grillo, 12 times where he's gained over a stroke with his approaches. No other golfer has done it multiple times. Now, let's talk about around the green. Brian Harman's back in the field, so he, of course, is going to be the leader in this category. But Scotty Scheffler, Sebastian Munoz, and Mark Hubbard, they've all gained at least a quarter of a stroke around the green 4 times in the past 11 weeks. So also, all of them playing pretty well. Let's wrap it up here with strokes gained putting. Everyone's least favorite statistic, as we've talked for about 12 minutes here, roughly, give or take. Danny McCarthy, if he's in the field, we're likely going to talk about him putting, along with Vincent Whaley, Zach Johnson, Aaron Baddeley, and Satish Theegala, all putting very well recently. And if any of those golfers find themselves heading into the weekend with a good approach game, which we should have strokes gained information here this week, that should give some of these guys a chance at one of their best finishes in quite some time. Although ZJ has played pretty good, and I would say a 6th place finish there at the U.S. Open a couple of weeks ago is probably one of his best starts in quite some time. So maybe not too much in terms of big starts for Zach Johnson, but the other guys, Vincent Whaley, it'd be a great time for him to pop off, Aaron Baddeley, and Satish Theegala, who's playing on a sponsor's exemption. No better time for him to start to get it going. So, with that being said, I think I'll wrap this up. Maybe I talked a little bit quicker here. Must have just had coffee or something, or some iced tea or something like that about a half hour ago to get me talking a little bit quicker. But if you're looking for more content, I'm posting this at about 12:48, so in about an hour and a half or so, give or take. You're going to hear Timothy Frank and Ben Raza talk about the PGA DFS slate that we got coming up, and I'm sure you're going to hear a little bit of Davis Riley talk. Davis Riley, the Mississippi guy who I mentioned here, 24 years old, playing on the Korn Ferry Tour, been playing very well, and I think that there may be a little bit of talk on the show of him, and plus so much more. They'll talk about the Louis Oosthuizen Withdraw that we just had, and make sure you don't play him in your lineups this week. So, if you can't make that show and you want to catch Ben Raz and I's show tomorrow night, 8 p.m., we're going live before lock, 8:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. live before lock. Ben Raz and I are going to give you all of our hot takes. In fact, our hot takes last week did pretty good. Lahiri in the top 10, Justin Sue in the top 15. So we did pretty good. We'll give you some better ones even for this week. So until next time, everybody, check out the Against the Grain pod, the 3rd and final series of the Awesemo Golf Weekly podcast series, where I go over ownership, and it will be vitally important this week with a lot of golfers of similar talent playing together. We will look for those low-owned pivot plays. So check out that. We'll be out tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I always get that one out pretty early. This one is pretty much a Tuesday morning to afternoon one, so if you're looking to listen to these on a pretty weekly basis, you can find the opening tee always every Monday morning by 9 o'clock a.m. It'll always be there for you. This Fit in the Form podcast, Tuesdays during football season, will probably come out closer to noon. Non-football season, this will be out first thing in the morning as well. Against the grain, I always put out Wednesday morning first thing as well. So till next time, everybody, thank you for coming by the Fit in the Form podcast, and we will see you on the other side. Cheers.